Around the world, thousands of retired warships are rusting away, toxic nightmares filled with pollutants. What can be done with the aging relics? Cutting up and salvaging scrap metal from these ships is expensive and dangerous. Leaving them to rot, leaking fuel and harmful chemicals into the sea is a recipe for disaster. There is another option. Clean the ships really well, add some explosive charges, and sink them. Once on the ocean floor, former warships transform into vibrant artificial reefs. Marine species colonize these iron and steel structures at an astonishing pace. A Canadian team, the Artificial Reef Society of British Columbia, is attempting to sink its 8th project, the Annapolis, a 366-foot destroyer. But since their first tour of the decommissioned ship, the group has endured years of delays and regulatory hurdles. Thousands of volunteer hours have been invested in the project. Will it finally be sunk? In the Cayman Islands, the Kittiwake met a watery grave while hundreds of onlookers cheered. It's now a popular tourist attraction and a thriving man-made reef. In the Florida Keys, artificial reefs provide new marine habitat and relieve pressure on natural coral reefs. In May 2009, after more than a decade of delays and budget shortfalls, the USS Vandenberg was sunk in the waters off Key West. Sinking massive warships is not without its problems or opponents. Each project has to balance environmental concerns with ever-increasing costs and technical challenges. And sinkings don't always go as planned. The future is uncertain for these reefs of steel. From all this explosive energy and chaos comes life, marine life, as sunken ships transform into artificial reefs. Within days of sinking, algae begins to grow and invertebrates colonize iron and steel. Small fish gather, and soon apex predators appear, increasing diversity until a complex marine ecosystem is formed. In 2004, members of the Artificial Reef Society of British Columbia visited Canada's Pacific Naval Base on Vancouver Island. They were invited by government officials to inspect the Annapolis, a recently retired destroyer escort. The warship was for sale, but the team wasn't looking to buy it for scrap value or even to keep it afloat. They were planning to sink it as an artificial reef.
Here we are down at the ex-HMCS Annapolis, just doing a walkthrough to sort of check on the general condition, which gives us an idea of what we've got to deal with for preparation, cleaning, equipment removal, etc. Here we are in the wardroom. This is, we use it as a lunchroom, but once it was the regal palace of the officers of the ship. Most of these ships were all built and they were male only back in the old days, and here we have female heads and wash place, so for obvious reasons they have their own little space. These would have been all the ship's offices along this side. You know, administration office, engineering office. This is engineers, paymaster's office down this way.
Westroot's business is marine salvage, and he knows boats, especially big Navy vessels.
Actually, we'll go up the bridge first.
Wes is the project manager for the Reef Society and is overseeing the preparation, cleaning, and metal recycling on a half-dozen of these Navy ships. And on the Annapolis, Wes is looking for treasure, metals that can be removed and sold to help fund the project.
As far as the salvage value on the ship, of course, it's all recyclable metals. So any of the non-ferrous recyclable metals is where any value is. The coppers, the brasses, the stainless steels. You just don't get any better than this. Lots of brass and copper, stainless, aluminum. This is what makes it all work. Here we are in the nice, shiny stainless steel galley. The price of stainless steel is pretty high right now, so it definitely helps things. I was going to get my wife a big soup pot like that because I've got 6 kids, but she didn't see the humor in it. I look around at all the metal, and effectively this is what fuels the whole machine. When we first started doing these ships, I had a nifty old guy helping me through this all. I still remember him going down to the engine room with one of the young guys that was working with us, and he went down there and he says, "Mike," he says, "can you smell it?" And he says, "What, Joe?" He says, "Brass." He says, "It's everywhere." Having done so many of these ships of very similar design, every time I get into one of these projects, I get on the ship and I go home at night and I wonder to myself, why do my legs hurt so much? And then I realize that I'm on the giant Stairmaster. There's more sets of stairs, and all day long you're going up and down stairs. If I've got a hard hat on, I'll knock the hat off 100 times during the day, but once you work with the ship long enough, you just instinctively know. It's like a cat with whiskers. You sort of move along and you can sense that it's there and just dip, and rarely do I bang my head.
Although salvage work is important to the project, Wes Root's main responsibility is preparing the ship for sinking. And that requires a zealous approach to removing pollutants, fuel, and other materials that just don't belong in the ocean.
The ship's going to have oil, especially in the machinery spaces. There's going to be oil spilt on deck plates and underneath bits and pieces. And when we finish cleaning this ship, it'll be clean to the point not only will you not see any oil, but when we flood the space, there will be no oil sheen on the water. And it takes a very small bit of oil to put a sheen on the water. To efficiently clean this ship, we probably need 6 months to do the job front to back, given all the little extra time you need for any problems that might arise. As much as it would be financially rewarding to cut this whole ship up into scrap steel, it's a fabulous end of these ships to send them as a reef. We take enough salvage off to finance the job, but this ship will be going for decades as an artificial reef, and it'll be a fabulous sight for both the fish and the divers.
Hopefully the Annapolis will be given a real Viking's funeral as an artificial reef. If not, she'll have the ignoble fate of being towed to a scrapyard in the third world country and just cut into razor blades, and the pollutants left on board the ship will end up back in the marine environment.
It's a very big concern, too, from a pollution standpoint, how well these ships are being prepared by people who are out in these scrapyards, simply tearing things apart helter-skelter. We see that as a total disregard for the real benefit use of an artificial reef, like a ship, in terms of usability and tourism.
After lengthy negotiations, the Artificial Reef Society acquired the ship a few years after their initial inspection tour. But little did they know the Annapolis project would drag on for nearly a decade. The team was certainly the right one for the job. They had carefully prepared, salvaged, and sunk 6 of these ships, and even a Boeing 737 aircraft. The first naval vessel acquired by the Artificial Reef Society was the HMCS Chaudiere, a destroyer escort. The ship was built in Halifax in the 1950s at the height of the Cold War. After a long and distinguished career as a peacekeeper, it was purchased from the Canadian government for the princely sum of $1, plus tax, of course. No one could have ever imagined the Chaudiere would serve out her final years on the ocean floor. Such a huge ship had never been purposely sunk in Canada. It was a daunting project, and the ship sinkers had to learn as they went along.
When we first saw the Chaudiere sitting at the dock in Esquimalt, I thought, this is nuts. This thing's huge. There's no way we're ever going to turn this into an artificial reef. There's so much work to do. The sinking of the Chaudiere didn't exactly go according to plan. These are large ships, and we didn't have a lot of support vessels to help keep it in the right position. And when it started to sink, we had no more control over it. It actually got offline about 70 degrees, and it also sank on its port side. Narrow ships, they're 366 feet long, but they're only 66 feet wide. So it's easy for them to get top heavy as they start to sink and then roll over, and that's what happened with the Chaudière.
Neil's cameras mounted to the ship provided a fisheye view of the action. This is the Chaudière today. 20 years after being sunk, the ship is a magnificent artificial reef.
It's lying on its port side. On the bottom, it's a lovely wreck. It's more like a real shipwreck in that it's kind of haphazardly lying on the bottom rather than being upright, the way the more recent ships have gone down.
The Artificial Reef Society learned many hard lessons from their experiences with the Chaudière and later projects. They are now considered world leaders in this unusual field of expertise. Canadians have literally written a book on how to properly prepare, clean, and sink a ship within demanding environmental standards. Dr. Chris Harvey Clark is a biologist and professor at the University of British Columbia. He's an expert on marine life colonization of sunken ships. Today, along with veteran cinematographer and zoologist Neil McDaniel, Clark is making his first dives on two long-established reef projects, the wrecks of the Cape Breton and the Saskatchewan.
What do you got in there? Gold bars? Yeah, sorry.
Our beer cooler.
Oh, good. I'm glad because it's heavy. That's a good sign.
The shipwrecks are located a few miles offshore and are only accessible by boat.
Okay.
Charter operator Kevin Breckman makes a sizable chunk of his living shuttling scuba divers back and forth to the sites.
The wrecks are a fantastic thing, specifically just for the biodiversity and for the increase in marine life. Economically, they're spectacular because it increases not only the sport of diving and the interest in the sport of diving, but the offshoot of hotels, restaurants, just basically the tourist industry. It's just a fantastic thing, and hopefully we can continue to do so.
The waters off British Columbia are generally dark and cold, but that doesn't stop most scuba divers in the province. They're a hardy bunch.
Well, the water is darn cold here and about 50 degrees Fahrenheit, so we've got to wear dry suits to protect ourselves thermally.
Scuba divers here need a lot of equipment. Heavy weight belts, buoyancy compensators, thick gloves, and hoods. It can be a bit cumbersome.
The moment of transition, when we go from being land animals to water animals. So Neil, I'm really pumped about this. I mean, this wreck's been here for 15 years. It should be absolutely loaded with marine life, so looking forward to the dive.
Yeah, Chris, you're going to like this dive. It's of all the destroyer escorts that have been put down in BC, it's probably the richest in terms of marine life.
And there's one more piece of heavy gear, the camera.
Okay, Neil. Getting your workout today, Kevin?
I am.
There we go.
Got her? Okay. That is one heavy frickin' camera.
It's good. Good thing you had your Wheaties this morning, Kevin.
Totally.
The big thing about sunken wrecks is that they're really a great big sampling device. They sit proud of the bottom up in the water column where nothing was before. They're hard substrate, and a lot of animals prefer to be attached to hard surfaces, particularly a lot of the invertebrates. There's a controversy about how animals and plants arrive on these wrecks, and particularly with fish, which can swim on and swim off. One school of thought has it that these things are giant sinkholes and all the animals in the area will come and cluster and it'll actually depopulate surrounding areas. There's another school of thought that these are actually amplifiers and a few fish will come and colonize and they'll reproduce and you'll get larger and larger numbers. I'm kind of favoring the second theory. These wrecks are havens. They actually provide a place for these animals to hide from predators, a place where they can lay their eggs, ability to get away from other animals that might be competitors, and of course things settle on the wrecks that they can feed on. So they're really, I think, have an amplifying effect. first thing you see is you're coming down the line and this ghostly white appearance coming at you out of the depths, out of the murk. And of course it's Metridium. It's these giant white anemones that are everywhere, carpeting the wreck, and mostly white. There are a few other colors, but they're definitely one of the signatures of the Pacific Northwest and on these wrecks. And then of course lots of fish. And one of the signature fish we see are the rockfish family. These are these spiky looking, long-lived, quite territorial for the most part fish. And I think for me one of the most exciting moments was seeing a species I hardly ever see anymore, the yellow-eye rockfish, which is a long-lived, lives to at least 128 years. After these wrecks sink, they stabilize, the invertebrates are attached, animals are starting to reproduce, fish populations are starting to grow, and that's what we're seeing now in the Nanaimo area. They have, I think, a golden period, and the golden period where they're just loaded with marine life happens in the decades, not in probably the first decade, but the second, third, fourth decade, it becomes loaded with marine life. These wrecks are just probably coming into their golden period now, 20 years on, and we're going to see massive invertebrate life. The sponges are the thing that really strikes you. When you see a cloud sponge as big as a Chesterfield, that's an exciting thing to see. And all the animals that are then inside that and living in that, that's just a life layered on life, and that's the exciting thing about these wrecks, because a lot of them have gone into places that are just a mud sand bottom, reasonably monotonous environment, not a lot of structure, not a lot of hard substrate, and now we've put these wrecks in and all these other things become possible.
So what'd you think of that?
Beautiful. That was fun. That was a great dive and a lot of diversity and a lot of density of life on that wreck. Everything we put in the ocean is a mixed bag, and artificial reefs are probably on the plus side of that mixed bag. Are they absolutely benign? Probably not. Artificial reefs, if they're properly prepared and if they're sunk in the right place, can probably increase biodiversity and provide habitat that wasn't there before.
It's not a new concept. People think that, recreating the wheel here. It's not so. I mean, artificial reefs have been used for centuries to enhance marine life, especially fisheries and so on. Using these ships as a place for animals to grow and for divers to enjoy, I'm okay with that. I think it's a good thing. I mean, there is opposition, obviously, to these projects. A lot of these people, however, have never been on an artificial reef. They've never seen one. We have a very good track record here in BC as far as these projects go. I mean, we're one of the world leaders in doing this kind of thing. A lot of places in the world, they look to BC, to what we've done here, for their inspiration in doing these projects. You can't just take a vessel out there and, knock a few holes in it and send it to the bottom. I mean, that's not going to do. And I think nowadays there's no public appetite for that. The government's not going to let it happen. And in many of these ships, when they're sunk, they're actually cleaner than the bottom of most of the hulls sitting in a marina. I think if it's done properly, ship reefs are a great thing for the environment.
Retired RCMP explosives expert Roy Gabriel has sunk more ships than most navies. Gabriel has overseen the demolition of a half-dozen Artificial Reef Society projects.
But we've got to get this tank out of here. It's either that or open it up and clean it out, and that takes too long.
Getting a vessel to the bottom quickly and upright is a technical challenge. It takes experience and lots of explosives.
This is a sample of the copper flex linear. It's designed and built specifically for cutting steel. It's RDX explosives on the inside with a copper sheeting around the outside.
The shape of the charge controls the massive shock wave that's produced. The explosives create an intense, narrow cone of energy that slices through an inch of steel plate in the blink of an eye.
What we have here is the face side or business side of the explosive charge. This is the portion that will face the inside of the ship, and this is where it will actually physically cut a meter square hole or a 39-inch square hole out of the side of the ship.
The explosion initially forces the steel outward. Water pressure pushes the plate back in, and the ship floods. It usually takes weeks to plan and assemble the explosives that sink a big naval vessel. A dozen or more custom-designed panels blow meter-square holes in the ship. They're carried, sometimes down several levels, to the bottom of the ship and fitted into place.
Let me get one in the other side here. Okay, that'll stay there, Bruce.
Each of the charges is built to fit precisely against curved hulls. For the flex linear explosives to work effectively, they need to be an exact distance away from the steel.
When the engine room, boiler room go off, to start with, these charges would jump right off the ship because there's so much shock wave and twisting going through the ship as it fires. All of this timber basically just gets, blown into chipwood.
Sinking an enormous warship requires that the explosive charges be precisely timed, fired in pairs inside the ship's hull just below the waterline. A tiny margin of error separates an upright artificial reef from a dangerous wreck sitting on her side, or in the worst-case scenario, completely upside down. This is the former USS Spiegel Grove, an artificial reef in the Florida Keys. It's now a major scuba diving attraction, but it had a very troubled beginning. It's a good example of the potential risks and what can go horribly wrong when you sink thousands of tons of steel. After cleaning, the 510-foot, 5,400-ton ship was towed into position for final preparations. But on May 17, 2002, a day before she was supposed to sink, something went wrong. No one knows exactly why, but it began to sink prematurely. She was not only sinking, but she started to roll over and turned upside down. Air was trapped in the keel, and the ship bobbed at the surface. The Spiegel Grove was now a shipping hazard. Getting the ship to the bottom and hopefully on her side was the first priority, and it needed to be done fast. Salvage teams were brought in, new holes were cut in the hull, and enormous balloons were used to help get the ship turned over. Once on the bottom and resting on her side, Hurricane Dennis intervened. The storm was serendipity indeed. Not only did it help push the ship over, it gently placed it upright, an event no one could have even remotely imagined. The Spiegel Grove is now a great example of what can go right with an artificial reef. It's a haven for marine life. Fish and encrusting invertebrates cover the ship. The wreck is a huge success, but critics of artificial reefs question how they affect the environment, fish populations, and natural reefs. The Spiegel Grove is part of a long-term study on the impact of artificial reefs. Ladd Akins is the project manager of REEF, the Reef Environmental Education Foundation.
The Spiegel Grove is in a very unique position. It's in a sand bottom area, away from the reef, but somewhat close, let's say within a quarter mile of nearby natural reef areas. And I think the intent was to put it far enough away that even if it moved a little bit, it wouldn't damage the natural reef, but also close enough so that there could be interaction between the marine life on the natural reef system and on the wreck itself. And I think we're seeing a lot of that. We're in year 4 of a 5-year study right now, looking at the fish assemblages, not only on the Spiegel Grove, but also on the adjacent natural reef areas. And we've really seen some great stuff. Over 170 species of fish on the Spiegel Grove itself. There are a number of potential uses for these ships, one of which is placement as an artificial reef, but it has to be done properly. They have to be cleaned, there need to be studies done of what's in the area and what the potential impacts could be. And we really need to be careful about storm damage and deterioration of these structures through the years as well, and think well in advance. Not just right now, what's it going to do, but in 20 or 30 or 50 years, what's it going to be doing? So I think when done properly, a ship placed as an artificial reef can be a very good thing. That's not to say it always is, though.
In Virginia, Texas, and California, hundreds of mothballed ships are part of the U.S. Defense Reserve Fleet. Some of the vessels are in good enough shape that they can be activated for duty in national emergencies. The oldest, most decrepit hulls are generally slated for recycling, but for many of the ships, their ultimate fate remains uncertain. Some are just too toxic with pollutants to scrap, while others are simply not valuable enough to bother scrapping. Even though it wasn't the largest in the Virginia Reserve Fleet, the USS Vandenberg was chosen for a unique project in Key West, Florida.
The Vandenberg project was conceived back in, I guess, 1996. We had been put on notice as a community from the National Marine Sanctuary that they were going to allow us to put a large shipwreck down here in the sanctuary. And so we made a decision and we picked the Vandenberg out of an inventory of about 400 ships. We liked it because of all of the topside structure. We figured it would hold more fish that way. And it was listed as a low hazmat ship suitable for artificial reef. So we wanted a clean ship. It was cool looking, it was big. Those things kind of drove the decision.
Several years into her retirement, the Vandenberg looked a little worse for wear. But she was destined to join several other successful artificial reef projects in the Florida Keys.
The Vandenberg, from a historic perspective and recreational perspective, will complete the southern leg of the Florida Historic Shipwreck Trail. This one will be easily accessible for glass-bottom boats and snorkelers, as well as scuba diving and fishing. So it's something that everybody can participate in. Our reefs are struggling, as they are worldwide. And this project, we worked with the local maritime resource people and the National Marine Sanctuary to design a reef that would be attractive enough to physically move recreational pressure off of the natural reef and put it onto the artificial reef. It's designed specifically as a management tool for the sanctuary.
As Sink Day approached, curious crowds gathered at the Key West Pier. It was a big event, unlike anything the community had ever experienced. It's not often that you sink a 500-foot ship on purpose. Right up until the last minute, there was still an enormous amount of work to do.
To understand the work that's been done to bring this ship fully compliant with a very strict and hundreds of pages of long best management practices from the EPA, the Marine Sanctuary, Florida Fish and Wildlife, Florida DEP, and there's about 18 different government, local, state, and federal agencies involved. It's very difficult, if you've never been through this, to understand the absolutely breathtaking amount of work that it takes to get this kind of project done. There's machinery, hundreds of thousands of gallons of fuel, cleaning all the systems, pulling out vents and doors and a million feet of wire. We're working 12 and 14-hour days straight through to get her ready and have her properly prepared, fully compliant, ready to be deployed.
For Key West, it means we have a ship that's going to produce about $6 million worth of revenue for the Monroe economy, about $500,000 in sales taxes, and 191 new jobs in the middle of a recession, and that really works well for us down here.
It's always a bittersweet reunion for former sailors, but most servicemen agree that sinking a beloved ship and keeping it intact is preferable to it being cut up for scrap.
I joined the Vandenberg in 1964. The ship was originally built as a mobile platform, so she was a mobile radar station. You couldn't put land-based radar stations every place in the world, but you could move the ship just about any place you wanted. The people on board did the data collection, and their job in doing that was to get as precise data as possible. We used to joke and say we could track a basketball at a distance of 500 miles.
The Vandenberg was important because it contributed a lot of data on both American missiles and foreign missiles that was used throughout the Cold War in determining the balance of terror. Did we need more sophisticated missiles? Did we need bigger missiles? And by the same token, what were the Russians doing? What were they building? And how did they work? All that kind of information came from this ship. There's Russian wording above my head because this ship was a movie set for a movie called Virus, where it played the part of a Russian missile attacking ship. Okay, and it did a good job. I mean, it was a B movie, but they made money on it. It's a memorial plaque for a friend of ours that died a few years ago. That was a former instrumentation manager out here. Really good guy. And hopefully his ashes will end up somewhere on here after it's sunk. It's nice to see the old rust bucket again, and it's going to be very nice to see it sink out there and become something useful again. And I think turning it into a reef for fishing and for diving and things is a positive outcome.
As with all Navy ships, whether they're American, Canadian, or other nationality, military ceremonies are usually solemn affairs. Countless sailors lived and died on these once proud warriors.
We had a memorial that honored my husband, Jack Steele, for his service on the Vandenberg, and it was touching.
On a calm May morning, hundreds of observers made the trip to the sinking site. Boats were allowed to witness the historic event from a safe distance. There's a certain electricity in the air when a big ship sinks. A spectacle like this is unlike anything most people will ever see. No matter how thorough the preparation or how precisely the explosives are timed, there's always a nagging apprehension that the ship will roll over. It can be an extremely tense few minutes. The ship sank in less than 2 minutes, 1 minute 44 seconds to be exact. The demolition team did an outstanding job, but even they had no idea the Vandenberg would sink so quickly.
Awesome. It looked to me like it's supposed to look. I've seen a lot of these big ships sunk, and it really looked like everything went the way it was supposed to go.
The next day, dignitaries and participants headed out to the new dive site for a first look at the ship.
Supposed to be a lot of current running this way.
The wreck site is now one of the most visited scuba dives in the world. A tremendous success story. With the scuba diving crowd, the new artificial reef is a huge hit.
Finally, we have the Florida Keys wreck trek completed. The sinking of the Vandenberg is absolutely phenomenal. We have wrecks starting in Key Largo all the way down to Key West that are world class. There's nowhere else in the world that divers will be able to experience what they're getting in the Florida Keys. Economically, it is great for the entire Keys. The pre-bookings for the summer, even into this winter, are off the chart.
I've dove all over the world. This is one of my better dives that I've ever had in my life. I'll continue coming back here, and it's a great opportunity for everybody also in the whole world to see what a beautiful artificial reef we've dropped down here. It's the best thing we've done in a long time. I think it's exactly what we planned it to be. I think it's the world's best wreck dive. That is fantastic. I think what do we have, 70 feet of visibility down there today, maybe 60. Real clear water, a little bit of current, and there's just a lot to see. It's just incredible. Everywhere you look, there's some other cool part of the wreck sticks up at you. I think the Vandenberg will live up to all the promises that have been made.
One of the Caribbean's most popular tourist and scuba diving destinations are the Cayman Islands. While a handful of shipwrecks here complement natural coral reefs, divers on the main island of Grand Cayman longed for a big new shipwreck of their own. Their prayers were answered with the long-awaited arrival of the USS Kittiwake.
We picked the Kittiwake from a fleet of about 300 ships that were in mothballs. We toured a lot of the ships. This ship was a great ship because it had a great history in the Caribbean already. It served some time in the Falkland Islands, recovered the black box of the Challenger explosion. So it had a good history. It's only going to be 15 feet from the surface, so you're going to have a lot of beautiful snorkeling adventures, and then also diving adventures are going to be endless dives.
The day before the sinking, ex-sailors and tourists were allowed to visit the retired submarine rescue vessel. It had been nearly 30 years since former navigator John Gladstein set foot on the ship.
When was the last time you did that, David?
Been a while. Let's go back to the recompression chambers. All right, these are the recompression chambers. This had a hatch. There's the hatch here and there, and they could decompress this side, leaving the inside at full compression, and pass supplies in and out, and whatever they needed to do, people in and out, whatever they needed to do. Making an artificial reef out of a thing like this, rather than reclaiming the steel, I don't know the science, but it seems obvious to me that it's better. This ship was always intended to serve divers, and this ship existed to serve divers, and it's great that she's going to continue to serve divers.
For project manager Nancy Easterbrook, the Kittiwake endeavor was a labor of love. It wasn't always a smooth process, but finally getting the ship to the bottom safely and upright would be a huge relief.
Tomorrow, we're finally going to sink her. I've been elated by this project, frustrated by it. I have been overjoyed and all kinds of other things, but the only thing that's ever really scared me is to get her on her spot down in the ocean, upright where she's supposed to go. But you know, we got good people doing this. All precautions have been taken, so I'm really very excited about tomorrow and cannot wait until we get her down in the bottom as the new diving attraction and snorkeling attraction for the Cayman Islands.
The sinking of the Kittiwake was a unique project. Unlike artificial reefs in Canada and Florida, the ship had to be sunk without the use of explosives. The Cayman Islands are one big marine park, and the sinking site was shallow and close to shore. The percussion of explosive charges can kill fish and other reef creatures in the vicinity of the sinking. So instead of using explosives, the ship had to be flooded manually. Strategically placed holes, both for flooding and for diver access, were cut along the side of the hull. Early on sink day, the hull of the Kittiwake was flooded. Heavy pumps filled the ship with seawater as curious onlookers started to gather for the big event. Once the surrounding sea started to overflow the newly cut holes, the ship went down very quickly. Just minutes after sinking, a few divers were allowed underwater to take a look. The ship landed almost perfectly upright, a great relief to project organizers. Not surprisingly, small fish immediately moved on board, using the superstructure as shelter. And not long behind them, big predators like this barracuda ventured onto the ship. In a short period of time, the kittiwake would become one of the top attractions in the Cayman Islands, both for fish and for tourists. This is the HMCS Annapolis. Workers are frantically preparing the ship for sinking. Howie Robbins first toured the Annapolis in 2004, scouting the ship as a potential reef project.
When we first inspected the Annapolis back in 2004, we were thinking this was an extraordinary new opportunity simply because the Annapolis was such a different ship compared to the other ships that we had already sunk. Fundamentally, the Annapolis has about 40% more exterior surface area, and that's due to the helicopter flight deck and hangar and a few other features as well. Although it's the same length and width as our previous vessels, we believe the Annapolis offers a lot more habitat space, which we think will be beneficial for marine life.
The Annapolis project has been fraught with problems, the first of which was the global financial meltdown of 2008. Scrap salvage is the main source of revenue for projects like these, and metal prices plummeted. Even with budget shortfalls and countless delays, the Annapolis project soldiers on with the help of hundreds of dedicated volunteers. Each weekend, they head out to the ship, cutting access holes, cleaning compartments, removing debris and scrap metal, whatever it takes.
Our best estimate is we have over 1,000 volunteers over a 3.5-year period and an estimated 17,000 hours put into the project.
With just a week to go before a scheduled October 2012 sink date, the ship is still not quite ready. There's more cleaning required, oil and grease to be removed, and most of the diver access holes are not yet cut. Tons of scrap steel and other metals remain on board. There's at least 2 more months of heavy labor to be done. Strict new environmental inspections may now delay the sinking well into 2013. Set to sink in a sheltered bay just a few miles from downtown Vancouver, the Annapolis project has also been plagued by protests and opposition. Many people feel that sinking a ship on purpose is akin to throwing a big tin can in the water. Garbage disposal on a grand scale.
Every time you do something out in the marine environment, there are going to be people who are for it and people who are against it. And it doesn't really matter whether you're talking about aquaculture, about sinking a shipwreck. Is the sum total of what we're doing when we sink these ships, is it good or bad? I'm not an unbiased person where this is concerned. I think from my viewpoint, it's probably a better thing. It's a substrate, it's a place for animals to attach, and if we understand the wrecks can be a haven, then other places can be as well. We have high hopes for the Annapolis. I think she's going to be well-traveled and well-visited, and also she's going into an area that's kind of mud sand bottom. Undoubtedly, she's going to become a magnet that will attract, retain, and amplify marine life in the area.
With more hard work and a bit of luck, the HMCS Annapolis will soon be resting on the seafloor. For now, like countless other warship relics, it awaits an uncertain fate. When it does sink, the Annapolis will serve its final mission as a reef of steel.
The same animals that strike terror in the hearts of swimmers generate excitement with many scuba divers. In an ironic twist, divers deliberately seek face-to-face encounters with some of the ocean's most dangerous predators, sharks. Dr. Eric Ritter is a leading authority on shark behavior and a passionate supporter of human and shark interaction. In the spring of 2002, he paid a very high price for his beliefs. A severe attack nearly cost him his leg and his life. Sharks fuel a booming ecotourism industry. From tropical seas to the cold waters of the Pacific Northwest, sharks are big business. A shark feeding frenzy. A fascinating and frightening spectacle. Dozens of predators slash and tear at their prey with razor-sharp teeth. But this exciting display is not a random act in nature's grand design. It's a carefully choreographed event staged for the benefit of scuba divers. It's a fair assumption that most people would avoid intentional contact with sharks, but many scuba divers and snorkelers line up to interact with the animals. Believe it or not, shark encounters are becoming one of the most popular attractions in the sport. Of all the sharks, one towers above the rest in our collective imaginations: the great white. Even though human fatalities have decreased, the visceral horror of being eaten alive remains. Since the dawn of time, people have been terrified of sharks. But in a deeply primitive sense, we admire them. We're transfixed by predators that can kill us. This fascination is the inspiration for the holy grail of shark dives. The Cape of Good Hope, one of the most treacherous bodies of water on Earth. Winter storms work their way north from Antarctica and pound a battered coastline. Windswept shores provide refuge for tens of thousands of South African fur seals. On land, they are clumsy and slow. Underwater, the nimble seals are eager to show off their acrobatic skills. These seas are not safe for even the most agile pinniped. This is the hunting ground of the great white. In the South African fishing village of Hansbaai, great whites fuel a burgeoning dive tourism industry. J.P. Botha and Andre Hartman operate Marine Dynamics, one of the most successful shark diving companies in the country. Both were formerly commercial fishermen, but with dwindling catches, they turned to ecotourism, specifically shark tourism. Their business plan is simple: wait for good weather, ferry visitors out to sea, and get them up close and personal with great whites.
The South African white shark diving business around Gansbaai started in the early 90s. In the beginning, there were only 3 operators. It grew to the 8 operators we have at the moment. Initially, there was a sort of an emotional outcry, and people were really concerned that the number of shark attacks would increase due to the commercial activity of attracting sharks. That fortunately has proved to be a false fear. This activity does not necessarily lead to more shark attack. And of course, the statistics have also been with us, so that the number of shark attacks have actually not increased. The local economy has benefited quite substantially by the shark tourism. The industry employs about 40 to 50 people, and these people spend their money in the local businesses. So there's a lot of spin-offs emanating from the shark business.
To attract the sharks, Andre Hartman first chums the water with a pungent combination of blood and fish remains. The scent of cow shark liver is a particular favorite of great whites. Coaxing them to the stern, Andre demonstrates an unusual phenomenon. Pushing aside the snout of a shark one day, he discovered that the animal became almost catatonic. It rolled its eyelids down, rose out of the water, opened its mouth, and snapped its jaws. The strange behavior appears to be related to highly specialized sensory organs in their nose and mouth. Touching them momentarily short-circuits their senses. Most customers view sharks from the safe confines of a boat or from a protective cage, but a few brave souls pay extra for the privilege of venturing into the water without the security of steel bars. At the surface, Andre Hartman acts as a safety diver and occasionally shows off. Do not try this at home. On the sea floor, a cautious Hartman scents the water with fish blood. The diver's expectations are exceeded. A 15-foot white shark appears like a ghostly apparition.
We were underwater for about 40 minutes, and of course the action all happens near the end of the dive. We were starting to get cold. Water temperature there was about 52, 53 degrees. And you're looking through the small viewfinder and trying to keep it framed and focused, and the shark comes out of the gloom and simply just gets bigger and bigger and bigger and fills the frame on this high-definition camera. It's pretty awe-inspiring.
That shark swam right around us a couple times, looked at us, examined us, then made a pass across the bottom and right at the camera. Sharks don't have fingers and hands to test things with, so what they have to do is bite something. Unfortunately, because of their enormous size and tremendous strength, when they bite something, even though they're just sampling it and you really couldn't consider that a shark attack, it doesn't make much difference to the person that's been sampled. It still hurts.
The shark showed recent signs of mating activity. Deep scars along her side indicated a bite from a very large male. We can only speculate on the size of the animal that inflicted these wounds.
It seems like the more time I spend in the water with sharks, the more I realize that when you look into their eyes as they swim by you, and eye contact is very important with wildlife, there's someone in there. It's not just a stupid animal swimming by. Sharks are not maniacal or dangerous man-eating machines that are swimming around looking for humans to eat. They're really not.
In the Bahamas, over 100 sharks show up for a feeding. But how do you get out of the way of a frenzied mob? At the northernmost tip of the Bahamas, 100 miles east of the Florida coast, lies Walker's Key. The island is a renowned sport fishing destination and hosts thousands of visitors each year. Seizing on the availability of leftover fish parts, shark diving pioneer Gary Atkinson found a novel means of recycling normally discarded carcasses.
We're a premier fishing destination. Subsequently, as the fish would come into our fish cleaning room, we save those carcasses. We recycle those fish heads and carcasses back into the environment. One day my staff came up to me and said, Gary, when we go down to dump the carcasses at the end of the runway, the sharks hear the trucks coming and they gather. Well, I took a look at this and was astounded by it, and I thought, well, it'd be a natural progression then to relocate it out to the reef, and subsequently that's what we did. We started saving the carcasses, packing them, created the chum sickle. Basically, with the chum sickle, it's carcass feeding, which is very natural for this predator. So we wanted to present it to him in as natural a form as possible that he would understand. And in no way then would it also connect it to us as the diver, that we were going to be just viewed as another predator down there on the dive who showed up for the same reason they did. And that's why we can do the dive as safely as we do it, and why we've never had a single incident of agonistic display in 11 years. Probably 35,000 people have done this experience, including children as young as 4 years old, having animals within just a few feet of them.
At the dive site, the captain revs the boat's engines. The noise is a cue for the sharks that a feeding is about to begin.
Hold it right there.
As the frozen block of bait sinks, only a few sharks appear to be interested. Other fish are quick to take advantage of the free meal. Once thought to be set off by a single drop of blood, the infamous feeding frenzy may instead be incited by several different stimuli. The vibrations and head shaking of the first fish to feed, the scent trail, and the visual commotion all combine to excite the sharks. As the bait ball wears down, it eventually falls to the bottom. The sharks then fight for the remaining morsels of food. A handful of well-publicized attacks in 2001 spawned the Summer of the Shark. Overnight, shark bites and sightings became front-page news. Lost in the hype was the fact that there were far fewer attacks that year than the previous year. Worldwide, only 4 deaths were attributed to sharks in 2001. The Summer of the Shark dramatically changed public perception, taking it several steps backward to the old Jaws mentality of the 70s. The past quarter century since that landmark film has not been kind to sharks. Virtually all species have seen population declines of between 50 and 90%. The strain on their numbers comes primarily from overfishing. Federal regulations restrict shark fishing in U.S. waters, but the animals are targeted relentlessly in much of the world. Their cartilage is still considered a cancer treatment, and Asian demand for shark fin soup supports a wasteful finning industry. One of the main goals of diving operators such as Gary Atkinson at Walker's Cay is to increase awareness of the shark's plight through interaction with the animals in their natural habitat.
I think it's so vitally important that people learn as much as they can about an animal that is really misunderstood. In doing this experience and trying to educate people and hopefully stop the slaughter of these sharks, I feel that what we do is significant. The reason we do what we do is it's a myth exploder. People suddenly realize that, gee whiz, I'm down here with 100 animals and I'm safe and they could care less that I'm here. And they walk away with a whole different, rich experience than they ever thought they'd get when they first arrived here. That's the seed you're planting out there, because they're going to tell other people. Sharks have a bad rap as it is anyway, and I feel like our job here is to let people know that they're not the bad guy people have made them out to be.
If sharks are not the bad guys, why would they attack and nearly kill one of their staunchest supporters? Dr. Eric Ritter is a leading authority on shark behavior and a forensic investigator of shark attacks. Ritter has been instrumental in helping to change the popular perception of sharks as terrors of the sea to a vital species which deserves protection. Over the past 2 decades, Eric has introduced hundreds of students, photographers, and biologists to sharks. With a keen passion for the animals and their plight, he is one of few researchers who dares to freely swim with dangerous sharks. Ritter works exclusively outside the protection of a cage.
What I'm studying is the body language of sharks. I'm interested in how sharks express their intentions when they approach humans. Shark-human interaction is a very new field, but it's most likely the very field we need to understand these animals. We cannot just observe them by sitting on boats, sitting in front of aquariums. We have to interact with them. My main theory is that sharks are as predictable as dogs, parrots, cats, animals that we are comfortable with, animals that we're used to. We're not used to be with sharks. We have to just give them the chance to let them interact with us.
In a unique experiment at Walker's Key, Gary Atkinson and Dr. Ritter attract a handful of large sharks to shallow water. One of Eric's more controversial theories is that dangerous animals like bull and lemon sharks are not inclined to attack humans, even when enticed with bait. He believes attacks are caused by curiosity or mistaken identity and should be referred to more appropriately as shark accidents. More than 80% of attack victims survive, mainly because sharks realize their mistake and don't return for a second bite. Ritter simulates common attack scenarios, such as those on swimmers in shallow water and those on spearfishermen in deeper seas. Throughout his experiments, fish carcasses are thrown into the surf very near to where he stands or swims.
The most often seen accident scenario we have is through exploratory behavior, meaning the animal sees us, not us as a human being, but us as an object. Several factors come together, for example, sound, smell, motion of the object. Sharks, per se, are very curious animals. They have a very high level of hesitance. But if their curiosity takes over, at the end they may grab an object just to get a final idea of what the object could be, because nothing they sense is conclusive. So that's why in very rare cases they still grab the object.
In the spring of 2002, after nearly 2 decades and over 1,000 dives with dangerous sharks, Eric's luck finally ran out. He was severely bitten on the leg by a bull shark. A journalist accompanying Eric nervously paced and stirred up debris, reducing visibility. Quickly, the situation turned deadly. A large female bull shark was cornered between the two and lashed out at Eric.
What led to this bite that I had with the bull shark was one of a general situation we've done hundreds and hundreds of times. The person next to me did not stand still as I told him to. He walked back and forth. And so by walking back and forth, he stirred up a lot of sand. And so we lowered the visibility. So it was us who created the situation, not the animals. The second I got bitten, I lifted my leg right away because I had to get out of her mouth. And the problem is, if you have a 400-pound animal attached to you, there's nearly nothing you can do. I mean, you always hear, well, hit an animal, do this, that doesn't work. She let go, I looked at my leg, and I realized, first of all, it's not much left, and second of all, I knew I'm going to die within the next 2 or 3 hours because I've seen many of these wounds, and I knew how they're going to end if they do not get proper treatment.
Eric was fortunate. A small plane and its pilot were on the island at the time of the accident. Within 30 minutes of the bite, he was on his way to West Palm Beach, where a team of doctors was waiting. He nearly died due to an enormous loss of blood. Once stabilized, it appeared that he would lose his leg, but skilled surgeons miraculously managed to save it. Months of rehabilitation and a determined will spurred an amazing recovery. Additional reconstructive surgeries and skin grafts helped to restore use of his leg.
The first time I jumped back in the water was about 4 months after my bite. The wound healed so far that I could be in the water 15, 20 minutes. So the first opportunity I had, I jumped right back in at the very spot where I got bitten. I want that everybody sees these animals the way I see them. I want them to see the animal through my eyes. I see it even more clear what we have to do. We have to destroy the myth, the bad rap of these animals, and portray them the way they really are. They're fascinating, incredibly intelligent, curious. So I'm back in the water. I interact with sharks more than ever. So I'd say I do this for the rest of my life.
What is the fastest growing and most popular attraction for scuba diving tourists? Another Bahamian island is the epicenter of the shark diving industry. At New Providence, half a dozen scuba operations rely on sharks as a main attraction for diving tourists.
As for the sharks, what we don't want you guys doing is swimming with your hands, okay? These sharks are attracted to movement more than the blood in the water.
Unlike the bait ball style of feeding at Walker's Key, sharks here are fed by hand or with a steel pole. Shark wranglers utilize a chainmail suit which helps prevent injury, but a crushing bite can still hurt. The difficult part initially is to keep the ravenous animals away from the bait. Like pigs at the trough, they jostle for position. After using a pole, the wrangler moves towards the divers and feeds by hand. For the customers, this close-up action is a thrilling introduction to sharks.
It was pretty comfortable down there until the sharks got real close to you. I mean, I got pretty nervous. I've always thought they were pretty aggressive, but being down there today while they were feeding them and everything, they looked like gentle giants down there.
This dive was really, really good. Never been so close to sharks. Other divers have seen them in the blue in the distance, but never so close up.
It was almost like he was roughhousing dogs. Whenever a couple of sharks would come up to him and he would just push their snoot away or whatnot, he'd grab a hold of them and roughhouse them or pet them, so it was pretty neat.
The first thing this morning, we never would have known that we were going to be shark diving today, that's for sure. We just happened to run across it and it sounded like a cool thing to do, so we said, let's go shark diving. It was just a fantastic experience.
From an economic standpoint, shark feeding I'm very much in favor of. Some people don't approve of shark feeding. They feel that we've changed the behavior of sharks. Yes, to a certain degree we have. Taken this area, we've probably changed the behavior of about 100 sharks, slightly. But they're still in their own environment. They generate a lot of income for the Bahamas, and those same sharks generate revenue year in, year out. Shark feeding is definitely becoming more popular, and it definitely does contribute towards the conservation of sharks. These people who would have otherwise viewed them as dangerous man-eaters and not cared about them, once they've been on a feed, they've seen them feeding, they're seeing they're not these vicious creatures, they're far more inclined to support conservation issues.
Most shark encounters occur in the warm tropics, but what animals lurk in the cold, deep sea? Shark diving is not confined to the tropics or to shallow temperate waters. In the dark, frigid realm of the deep sea lives a mysterious giant, the six-gill shark. ancient hunters, unchanged since dinosaurs roamed the earth. They inhabit great depths. These living fossils can attain a length of over 20 feet. There are only a handful of places where six-gill sharks are frequently encountered in shallow water. Washington State's Puget Sound and the Pacific coast of Canada. One of the best places to photograph and study the sharks at scuba diving depths is British Columbia's Hornby Island. Rob Zielinski and Amanda Heath operate a busy scuba diving business on Hornby Island, and six gills are their #1 attraction. Despite the cold seas and sometimes challenging diving conditions, the animals generate enormous interest.
The main reason that people come to Hornby is to see the six-gill sharks. They're a real draw here in the summer. We cater to about 500 diving tourists in the course of May to September. And all of those people come with the intent of seeing the six gills if they're lucky enough to do so. Hornby Island is a unique location in that it's one of the few places in the world where we can observe six gills in water shallow enough to scuba dive in. In many cases, they're found at depths of several thousand feet, which is unreachable by people under most circumstances. Sport diver tourists come here, as well as scientists, film crews, still photographers, etc., who are interested in an opportunity to see the six-gill in its natural habitat.
Researcher Dr. Robert Dunbrack of Newfoundland's Memorial University searches for clues to the behavior and biology of these enigmatic sharks. Each summer aboard his research vessel, the Stalvik, Dunbrack travels to tiny Flora Islet off the coast of Hornby Island. Six gills and their unusual habits pose many intriguing questions, but simply finding the elusive animals is the first of many challenges.
It was much more difficult than we originally thought it might be to work on the six gills. We thought we could just do a bit of diving and the six gills would be there and we could make behavioral observations in a way that we might do on, let's say, polar bears or some sort of terrestrial mammal. The study site that we settled on was on Flora Islets off Hornby Island. We spent a few days there on our research vessel looking for sharks and didn't see anything, and we were prepared then to leave and go and find another site. But on our last dive, we saw 8 sharks in one dive, so that as soon as we saw that, we decided this was a place to do the work. The unanswered question about these sharks, of course, is why are they coming into shallow water? They're deep water sharks. They're known virtually throughout all the oceans of the world, but only from deep waters. Well, a natural thing to conclude is that they're coming in to feed, because this is what animals have to do most of the time, is look for food, but we have no evidence that they are feeding. It's not known whether they feed at night and maybe come onto the reef during the day for some other reason.
Dunbrack quickly realized that direct observation of the animals was very difficult. Depth and time constraints, cold water and currents, and finally locating the sharks on the deep reef made research a daunting task. To aid in his studies, he devised 2 ingenious yet simple methods of observing and recording six gills and their behavior.
We have built a time-lapse video system that allows us to put a video camera down. It takes pictures 4 frames every 10 seconds or so. On a single film, we're able to get 2 to 3 to 4 weeks depending on the time of year. It's just a daylight system. We also have set up a stereo system which consists of 2 video cameras that are cabled directly to the surface. They look over the same area, they're facing down off the reef wall, and so the sharks will swim underneath these 2 cameras. And based on the geometry of the cameras, we can actually get measurements, direct measurements of the size of the sharks as they pass underneath, and also their swimming speed, which we can use for metabolic studies.
That's right. It's the moment of truth. It's dry.
Early in the summer field season, Dunbrack made a curious discovery. Harbor seals and stellar sea lions, prey for other large sharks, were interacting with the six gills. Video monitors and time-lapse cameras revealed the startling behavior.
Ooh, and what was that being? Oh, that's interesting. That's a seal right there, chasing him. I don't believe this. Wow, it's amazing. Seals directly underneath the shark, sort of coming underneath them, and sort of buzzing him.
Six-gill sharks are not known to feed on seals or sea lions. It appears that the playful mammals are simply curious about their large visitors from the deep. In recent years, fossil remains of prehistoric relatives of six-gill sharks have been discovered on Hornby Island. Over 25 species of mostly deep-water sharks from the Cretaceous period have been identified from fossilized remains. Fossil shark teeth are very common, but they're usually attributed to shallow water species. These puzzling clues appear to suggest that six-gills and many other deep-water sharks frequently ventured into shallow seas.
Within a stone's throw of the site where we were watching these sharks swim around, there were fossils of the sharks that have been there over 65 million years ago. And looking at the teeth of those species, they're virtually indistinguishable from the teeth of the fish that we were looking at. Within the last 100 million years or so, they probably haven't changed much at all. It's very unusual.
With the collapse of many traditional commercial fish stocks, six-gills were briefly considered a viable new fishery. But with little knowledge of their population, reproductive and growth rates, this ill-conceived plan was put on hold.
Trying to run a fishery on a species like the six-gill is very problematic. It's a large fish. It's certainly long-lived and has very low rates of reproduction. So the sustainable exploitation rates would be very low. So a large shark that might be 60 to 100 years old might fetch just a few dollars. Whereas we do know for a fact that this species probably brings in several $1 million a year just to the dive tourism industry as a living resource. The more people that interact with the sharks in a passive manner as divers and get a positive experience, the better it is really going to be for the shark.
Despite many unanswered questions and an uncertain future, six-gill sharks inspired tremendous respect from both scientists and scuba divers.
Rob and I consider ourselves to be very lucky in that we're members of a very small select group that have seen a live six-gill swimming in its natural habitat. It's something that many people can never dream of doing. It's an exciting thing to see this shark moving in its environment.
It's really hard to describe the feelings that you have when you first encounter them. To put it in terrestrial terms, it would be similar to going through a hike on the west coast and running into the elephants and the giant sloths that used to live there 12,000 years ago. It seems like a throwback to times when animals were bigger and more plentiful on these reefs. And it's a very stirring experience. There's virtually nothing that we know about this species, so anything that we get is going to be useful, and there's so much to know. It's something that could keep us going for many, many, many years.
Many of us don't scuba dive or even snorkel. What better way to satiate our curiosity than to view sharks through 6 inches of glass? Shark encounters are not the exclusive domain of scuba divers and marine biologists. The animals are also top attractions in zoos and aquariums. The public fascination with sharks is deeply rooted. People of all ages are mesmerized by the sleek and powerful fish. At the Atlantis Resort on Paradise Island in the Bahamas, sharks are a crowd favorite. You can even rocket down a water slide or river raft through the middle of their Mayan shark tank.
I think the reason why people are so fascinated by sharks is because a lot of people don't know about sharks. They have a lot of misconceptions about sharks. They think sharks are these big, scary animals that as soon as you get into the water, they're going to attack you. Economically, live sharks are much more valuable than dead sharks because they bring guests here. They want to see sharks, and it also adds an educational value because it's much easier to teach somebody about sharks and how valuable they are if they can actually see something that's living. I think people appreciate that much more than they would seeing a specimen or just a photograph in a book.
A rash of shark attacks in Florida and Hawaii led state authorities there to ban the practice of baiting sharks. But instead of decreasing attacks, the bans have proven to be ineffective. The same number of people were bitten in the past few years as there were before the bans were implemented. Although shark diving does attract and perhaps alter the behavior of a few animals, feedings usually take place in deeper water, a long way from beaches and swimmers. Dr. Eric Ritter and others believe that shark baiting and chumming is a potential factor in attacks, but not because of scuba divers.
I would say about 80 to 90% are caused by sport fishing. What they create is a very hazardous situation around themselves by chumming the water, by hooking fish. Sharks pick it up. You have people in the water frolicking. Until we find a way to reduce some of the sport fishing habits, we will always have the same number of shark bites on a yearly basis here in Florida. If the ban really would have done what they predicted, meaning no accidents anymore, then at least it would be safer, but we still have the same accident rate each year.
I definitely feel that organized shark feeding, done properly, is safe. And it definitely raises awareness of this animal's plight and raises awareness of the animal's fragility, and it's a myth destroyer. As an animal that's been on this planet for close to 500 million years, that has been brought to the verge of extinction in the past 20 years. And he's being wiped out at such a tremendous rate. You remove the shark, you suddenly turn our oceans in a very, very short period of time into a septic system. Our oceans are in trouble. If we don't protect this animal, then all of us lose. Everybody. And what a sad thing. I want my kids to see what I saw today.
Despite their strength and predatory skill, sharks are remarkably fragile creatures. Conservation efforts have traditionally had little support or enforcement. They aren't as cute and cuddly as dolphins or as majestic as whales. After all, on rare occasions, they do kill people. We are slowly coming to realize that sharks are integral members of the ocean food chain. We're learning that while a dead shark may bring a few dollars to a fisherman one time, a live shark may generate thousands of dollars in annual tourist revenue. And best of all, the shark is allowed to live. Perhaps scuba divers and other eco-tourists can ultimately play a key role in preserving these vital species.
This captivating creature is a lionfish. They're beautiful indeed, but beware, needle-sharp venomous spines pack a nasty punch. Native to the Indo-Pacific, lionfish are now an invasive species across the Caribbean and much of the western Atlantic. They've spread out in all directions, millions of square miles of ocean. Efficient predators and prolific breeders, they wipe out native species at an alarming rate. In Mexico, Florida, and the Caribbean, suppression efforts are barely making a dent in their rapidly increasing numbers. Lionfish have now made their way to Central and South America. In Florida, teams of scuba divers compete in lionfish derbies to see who can spear or capture the most lionfish in a single day. And people certainly love to hunt.
I'm here to kill lionfish. Gladly. Kill them all and let God sort them out. Because they're evil and I hate them.
Wily entrepreneurs are racing to invent new and more lethal weapons to kill lionfish. Conservation groups are focusing significant resources on controlling the lionfish invasion. Scuba divers, spearfishermen, and government agencies all are united in their efforts to wipe out this destructive species. It's all-out war on these toxic invaders. No invasive species colonizes such a wide geographic area or variety of habitats as lionfish. They're everywhere, right from the surface down to a depth of 1,000 feet. As an invasive species, they're the perfect biological storm. Not many people know what a lionfish is or why they're a threat, but they should.
Do you know what a lionfish is?
No, I don't. What is it?
Do you know what a lionfish is?
No. No, I have no idea.
Never heard of a lionfish.
I think its face has like whiskery fins.
I think they're very vicious. I got a lionfish under my boat. It's about as big as this basket. Probably tastes better though.
Nearly 3,000 square miles in size, the Florida Keys National Marine Sanctuary stretches from South Miami to the dry Tortugas. Within its boundaries lie extensive coral reefs. The third largest barrier reef on the planet, 6,000 species of marine life call it home. The list of environmental challenges facing the sanctuary is daunting, but never before has it encountered a threat as potentially destructive as lionfish.
For the most part, the early reports were isolated to South Florida, and they were pretty few and far between until about 2000. And in 2000, we began to see reports coming from the east coast of the U.S. as far north as North Carolina and out to Bermuda. And around then, people started saying, wait a second, this isn't just one or two fish anymore. Something's going on, and we're seeing increases in distribution and increases in abundance of lionfish. And that's when we really started looking into what this might mean for the region.
Captain Gary Mace owns and operates Conch Republic Divers. The lionfish invasion has given many in this business cause for concern.
Hey, Jim. Hey, Gary. Good to see you, buddy.
Gary is joined by underwater cameraman Jim Cosmic. Both divers know firsthand just how painful a lionfish encounter can be. Gary and Jim have both been stung.
I didn't really feel much at first, just a sharp, a spike. But about 3 hours later, it just came on like gangbusters. Very strong, pulsing nerve pain. Very painful and constant throbbing in your arm. And it really hurt for about 3 days, and I only hit a small one.
To gain a better understanding of the lionfish invasion, marine biologist Dr. James Wood joined the dive team.
James, how you doing?
Pretty good, pretty good.
Welcome to the Keys. Ready to hunt some lionfish down?
I am.
Okay, well, we got them waiting for you.
All right, let's go.
All right, come on.
So the reefs out here, they're my livelihood. I come out here and I never see as many fish as I do right here on the Florida Keys. And that's what brings a lot of people down. These lionfish are eating the little babies, the juvenile fish, if you will. It's going to devastate the reef. When it devastates the reef, it kills the fish, kills my livelihood. It's very important for us to find and destroy these lionfish.
Supposedly these gloves are lionfish proof. I hope.
The Eagle is an artificial reef, a ship purposely sunk to attract marine life and scuba divers. There's lots of dark corners and recesses, ideal places for fish to hide and to hunt. It's perfect habitat for lionfish. Because the wreck lies in deep water, the team uses rebreathers, high-tech equipment that allows the divers to venture deeper and stay underwater longer. After just a few minutes, they spot a lionfish. It makes no attempt to flee and seems to be unafraid of divers. But it's currently illegal in the sanctuary to spear fish while using rebreathers, so this lionfish is safe for now. To collect and spear lionfish on the shallow reef, the dive team switches to regular scuba gear. With clear capture nets, Gary traps his first lionfish. But not all lionfish are so easy to catch. After a few escapes, Gary turns to a conventional pole spear, and the hunt really begins. Considering their environmental impact, every lionfish removed from the reef is a small victory.
Pretty neat following Gary around and watching him capture the two methods, one with a spear, the ones that we couldn't bag, and the ones that are out on top of the reef, we tried to bag them, and Gary got a few of them.
I'm a marine biologist and I've been on assignment all over the world, but these are my local reefs. This is where I grew up, and as a kid we didn't see lionfish. Now they're in a lot of different areas, and it's really disturbing to see them and see how many of them there are out there. South Florida has a lot of invasive species, pythons, iguanas, and tilapia. Pythons are a real problem in the Everglades, but they're mostly restricted to the Everglades. Lionfish, on the other hand, are broadcast spawners. A female lionfish can put out 2 million eggs per year, and those eggs go up into the currents and then gets distributed all over the greater Caribbean area, lots of different countries.
Here we go. How'd you make out? Not bad. We got 3 more monsters off the reef.
We did great. We saw a bunch. We got 3 in the bag. Success.
There's a way that they actually tell the age of these things. There's some bone inside them. It's like it's like a tree. They can actually measure the size of that. And I guess they start counting the rings. Now these guys, I'd say they're probably maybe a little more than a year old. What I'm going to go ahead and do first is cut these spines off, make it a little better for us to grab. So we just take the scissors and cut the spines off. Now there's still venom inside underneath the skin there on the spines, but we're taking the sharp needle point off, so we won't have to worry about getting stuck, hopefully. And he's not so dangerous now. He won't be eating any more fish off our reef, that's for sure.
Jessica Pulfer is the director of Marine Lab, a research and educational facility in Key Largo.
Hi, James.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, too.
I brought some lionfish with me.
Awesome. Ooh, nice fish.
Thank you.
First thing we can take a look at is this mouth. I love that his mouth is kind of open. That's one way that they are such good predators, is by simply opening up that mouth, and then whatever's nearby just gets sucked right in. This is the business end of the fish. This is where their defense mechanism comes on. We can pull open this dorsal spine that they have, or this dorsal fin that they have on top.
Looks like a needle.
It is pretty much a needle, like a hypodermic needle. The only place that you can get the venom is right at the tip of that needle. So if I were to just stick my finger right there, I'd probably get a little venom in.
So if you were to eat one of these as a predator, you'd probably get a spine or 3 in you.
Be a nasty case of indigestion.
You should call these punk rock fish. And we caught this little guy with the tropical fish net.
He's cute. Even that little guy packs a mean punch.
Oh yeah, look at those spines. Thanks, Jessica, for letting us use Marine Lab. It's been fun. I've learned a lot, and I hope to see you at the Derby.
It's Derby Day in Key Largo. A dozen teams from across South Florida are here to capture, spear, and to kill as many lionfish as possible.
Where are they at? We're ready. We are ready, my man. We got the frappers, we got the catch bags, we got a beautiful day in Key Largo, Florida. We got the frapper. We got the captain's version here. It works very much like a bow and arrow or a slingshot. We like to call it old technology wrapped in a new package. Prepare to be controlled. Resistance is futile.
I'm here to kill lionfish. Gladly. Kill them all and let God sort them out. Because they're evil and I hate them.
It's open season on the invaders. No bag limits, very few rules. An all-out offensive against public enemy number 1.
Get some air on board for people. Captain's got to find them. And yes, they are widespread throughout Atlantic and Caribbean, but it's no guarantee we're going to find fish on every dive. So,
no guarantee.
Between our girl over here with local knowledge and Mike with local knowledge, we're going to find some fish, aren't we, hon? Yes, yes.
We're going to head out off Key Largo here. We're going to get into an area known as Hawks Channel. This is a pathway, if you will, out in the ocean that parallels the shoreline of the Florida Keys.
Okay. Yeah. Good plan.
Bob Hickerson is one of a handful of entrepreneurs developing new weapons to handle and to kill lionfish. It's a booming business. After a brief run out to sea from the marina, Team Frapper is ready to rumble. All teams must be back to shore with their lionfish catches by 5 p.m. There's no time to waste. It's 8 a.m. and Team Salty Dog is off to a very late start. Both Team Frapper and Team Salty Dog hope to dominate the competition, but a lionfish hunt is at best a crapshoot. You never know where they are or if they've been fished out.
The number of lionfish we get is partly luck, as well as our own skill in underwater and finding them. We might end up at the end of the day with 3 lionfish, or we might end up with 300.
Hey Dan? Yeah. Just grab a mask and fins, no scuba, and just jump in and take an eyeball. All right.
We're close to the mangroves. A lot of juvenile fish hang out. Shallower water. Right now we're like an 8 foot of depth. We're just checking to see if we can find a rock formation.
Topography is grassy plains. Something this area is known for, but not what we're looking for. So we're gonna go try something different. Dive, dive, dive.
We just jumped in at about 15 feet to see if we could find any rock formations where the lionfish may be hiding, but the visibility is pretty poor, and all we saw was grasslands, so we're gonna head out to some bluer water and our hunt for the lionfish.
Yeah. It's gonna get much better when we go deeper.
Yeah.
I hope we just find one.
We'll find more than one. We just gotta go deeper into some blue water.
We got a wall dive. We're on top of the wall right now, about 40, 45 feet, and the wall slides down to about 90 to 100 feet to the sand.
As a safety precaution, divers deploy marker buoys. The buoys indicate where team members are and also let other boaters know that divers are just below the surface.
Lionfish love structure, whether it's shallow structure, deep structure, doesn't matter. Artificial reefs are great, whether it's wrecks, pipes, etc. They like ledges, anything that gives them up out of the current and secure. Usually wherever lobsters are.
Even though sonar profiles showed the right topography for lionfish, Team Salty Dog's first few dives resulted in nothing more than a curious sea turtle.
I mean, it seems like ideal lionfish territory. Excellent structure, excellent ledges. They're just not here, which means other divers have been, either today or past month or so.
Please remember that all of the waters of the Florida Keys are a national marine sanctuary, including where we are now. I would start out in the 18, 20 foot where the sand is and move over to the ledge and then just work the ledges.
Hey, there's the competition. Look at them. Ah, they don't know what they're doing.
The first few dives for Team Frapper also proved to be a bust. The reefs they scoured didn't hold any lionfish. Where was the so-called lionfish invasion?
Guy, I got skunked. Yeah, I didn't see a one.
All right.
I'm gonna lose my name as spotter.
If you don't have lionfish, you can't come back on the boat. You got to go back and get some.
Perfect habitat. Somebody's already cleaned it off.
Didn't find any. Found a lot of other cool stuff.
It's evident that spear fishermen and divers are effective in controlling lionfish numbers. The problem is, there's far more terrain, millions of square miles, that is not visited by scuba divers or is too deep. That's where lionfish seem to be thriving. Both teams decide to try their luck in more remote areas where scuba divers rarely visit. And they weren't disappointed. At last, the Salty Dog's luck changes for the better. They finally discover some lionfish.
The tallest structure in the whole reef we went up to, and there was 3 lionfish.
I told you there was an invasion.
I got them all in the last like 30 seconds of the dive.
Nice.
I killed all 3 of those when I had 500 pounds of air. I was quite literally starting to pick them up, and I saw one. So then I'm like, oh well. I did call this my lionfish killer because I bought it a month ago and I've killed 187 so far. So, she's a lethal little girl.
All right, we got a spot. First 2 turned up negative. This one sounds very promising, somewhere around 50 to 80 feet.
Immediately upon entry, Bob Hickerson spots the first of several lionfish, a proverbial fish in a barrel.
First one you and I came upon, that small one in the barrel sponge, and man, it was like perfect setup.
The frapper's luck also changes. Their last 2 dives turn into a shooting gallery. Most lionfish don't make much of an effort to hide or avoid divers. Their defensive spines are generally quite effective and deter most predators. But not these hunters.
Oh, look at that. Way to go, Bob.
He was deep in underneath the coral head, hanging out. I called Mike over because he had pole spear with him and needed a little more reach.
Lionfish on this remote reef were sitting ducks for Team Frapper.
The last coral head, there was 3 big ones in it. So we were basically on both sides because there was like a tunnel going under.
Well, how'd you do?
We did well.
As a
We
team,
did well.
yeah. You brought a lot back from this spot.
Yes, everybody came back with something in their bag.
I tell you what, that last spot, she missed the count. There were 5 big ones under that last coral head. And we got them all.
I can keep my title now of spotter.
There you go.
Yes. And it just was nonstop. Spotter, nice one on that big one.
Darryl, good spot, man. Good spot.
This is the catch of the day Maria brought back to the boat. She was in about 30 feet of water when she got this one. It's a nice one.
Yep.
It's one of the bigger ones I've seen of recent, that's for sure.
On the tool, on the frapper itself.
6, 7, 8, 9.
Bastards. Great day on the water here in the Keys. I think we got a real good shot at the largest category. Definitely have a contender.
All right, it was a good day for us, but a bad day for the lionfish.
A little bravado is in order. Team Frapper did quite well. Meanwhile, Team Salty Dog is running late. They've only got a few minutes to make the Derby cutoff time. This is video footage of the first confirmed lionfish in the Florida Keys. It's difficult to believe the date. It's not that long ago. With cameras in tow, Ladd Akins of the Reef Environmental Education Foundation did the honors. It was the first recorded lionfish capture in a full-scale invasion of the Florida Keys. One of the big questions surrounding lionfish, and perhaps something that will never be fully understood, is how they got here in the first place. Forrest Young of Dynasty Marine explains.
I believe that this came from some type of either a home aquarium or an aquarium release, whether it was a well-meaning individual with a pet who didn't want to euthanize it when it outgrew the confines of the tank, or some other situation where these animals got into the wild. But it seemed to spread from the Miami area north and south. We've caught a lot of lionfish over the years. It started off as just a tiny trickle of one here and one there. I mean, it was actually almost a year before I saw my first lionfish after they had been reported here, and now they're everywhere. Once a fish becomes established, taking 50 or 2,000 or 5,000 fish really isn't going to make any difference. In order to eliminate this species completely, you probably have to get almost every last one, because I believe in my heart that this introduction started with only 1 or 2 fish. It remains to be seen how big of a real problem this is going to be over the course of the next decade or 2.
The lionfish invasion has spurred demand for new equipment in this diving superstore. Just like other sportsmen, lionfish hunters need weapons and gear.
These are what a lot of people are going to be thinking of when they're thinking of spear guns and spear fishing. These big guns. These are meant for open water, big fish. You want to go for big papa grouper, this is what you want. But when you want to get up close and personal in the reef and shoot a little lionfish, probably overkill. I think I need a smaller gun. To use the lionfish pole spear like any other pole spear, all you do is hold that elastic under your thumb, reach that elastic all the way up to the top, and then when you're ready, let it go. These are the nets that you could use to net a lionfish. If you do take the class to do it within the sanctuary areas, this is what you gotta use. The nice thing about lionfish is that they tend to sit pretty darn still. They don't move too much. So when you're hunting your lionfish, a lot of people like to wear puncture-resistant gloves just because of those lionfish spines. They're very, very sharp, very fine, like a needle, so the gloves are going to help prevent any accidental sticks.
Team Frapper is the first team back to shore with their catch.
It looks like Team Frapper just got in, so we'll go ahead and get them scored and we'll take their maps and we'll see what they brought in.
You guys all good today?
Everybody came back.
It was close. One of the guys almost got it. Oh, we got some nice ones in here.
Oh, that is a beast. That thing is so big.
All right, very nice. All right.
Each lionfish is measured and logged into the reef database.
272.
Every piece of data collected is valuable information in the fight against this invasive species.
134. You're in the lead on all categories. Not too close. Little fishy breath. That's a nice fish.
All right, now one more, being looking mean.
So we're here in our 3rd year of lionfish derbies in the Florida Keys, and it's great to see so many of the same familiar faces who are out there having a great day on the water capturing lionfish. These derbies are a fantastic outreach tool. They enable us to spread the word to people who are both familiar and unfamiliar with lionfish, to bring them together where they can socialize, have fun watching the lionfish be counted, but also get to taste and sample lionfish, because the lionfish that are caught here today are actually cooked up and served.
They taste fantastic. Very, very light, flaky white fish, similar to hogfish. Big, beautiful fillet.
One of the new categories in this year's derby is the smallest fish caught, and this one is tiny.
Oh my goodness. That's one of the smallest I've seen. Wow.
Oh, nice. I'm gonna say 43. I get a confirmation. That's the smallest in any of the Key Largo derbies so far.
It was a really good day out on the water. We did about 6 dives and we got about 100 fish. Whoa.
Oh, yeah.
There's definitely a lot less lionfish now that we went through there.
Oh man, we killed it.
We did pretty good.
We did really good. We did really good. We're confident about our results.
We had a great time out there. The weather was fantastic. We went to probably about 80 spots free diving, and we got a whole bunch of them. We'll see how many we got.
We covered probably 70, 80 miles, something like that.
So technique, we were free diving and using nets. We use these tiny little nets. They're maybe like 8 inches by 8 inches square. So they're really fast to go through the water. We scouted hundreds of spots and we had identified the top ones that we were gonna go to. So we would drop in 2 free divers and they would go down with the nets. The boat would circle around and we would go down and catch them 1, 2 at a time sometimes, throw them into the boat. A new net is coming right back into the water for us to go down and do our next dive.
Not all the divers managed to avoid getting stung by a lionfish.
It's like getting your hand slammed in a car door.
Getting your hand slammed in a car door while it's on fire.
I almost cried.
As results pour in, a clearer picture of the day's catch emerges. A lot of lionfish were removed from the reef. Team Salty Dog makes it back to the derby with just a few minutes to spare.
The last place we went, it didn't really look like there was going to be that much. But lo and behold, you know, we got 6, and we got them all in the last hour. A dead lionfish is always a good lionfish, regardless. Whether it's you get 6 today or 300 tomorrow. It's all good.
136, 161.
Each tagged fish garners an extra $50 in prize money and lets Reef know exactly where the fish were caught. The teams must report their capture sites with GPS coordinates.
That's a tag that came out of one of the fish from this team.
Yeah, that's a tag lionfish. Tag number 655. Got it? Okay, good.
Random lionfish are dissected to see what they're eating.
In this one stomach, we have 5 different fish that are inside of it, and their stomach can expand up to 33 times its own size. So they'll eat pretty much all day, every day, whatever fits in their mouth until their stomach is as full as they can get, and then they'll pretty much wait until it gets digested and then just go and eat some more. And they'll eat fish whole, so you'll see all sorts of stuff, from blue crab to snapper, grouper.
So far, Team Strategery's impressive catch is the frontrunner for most lionfish, and they did it all without spearing a single fish or even using scuba gear.
We knew that the sizes would increase and we knew the numbers would increase, but it's still surprising every time those tallies come in and you realize that in an individual day, 2 free divers can bring in over 200 lionfish.
The total number of fish for this year's derby, 461 lionfish. Good job, everybody. Second place in the largest category, 378 millimeters, to a team that's been in every Florida derby since they started, Team Prepper. Good job. Hey. Great job. You're welcome. In first place, with the new record for the Upper Keys Derby, Team Strategery, 233 fish. There you go, good job. Nicely done, Alicia. Great, way to go, guys. $1,000 first place prize. And keep up the good work year round. The Derby is more than just about removing lionfish, and it's a great tool to get people more aware of this issue and realize that lionfish is a problem, we need to do something about it, but also invasive species in general are bad, and we need to work on preventing this from happening again.
There's only one way to find out how effective derbies are in suppressing lionfish numbers. Head out to the reef and survey the lionfish that remain. Lad Akins and his team revisit some of their pre-derby survey sites.
We're gonna hop in, gonna spread out, survey the reef, find out how many lionfish are here and get the sizes of each of those fish. Okay.
the first order of business is to measure the size of some of the remaining lionfish.
Every third or fourth rock coral head down there is maybe 1 or 2 under each of them. I can't believe how many are in shallow water here. It's amazing.
One of our recent lionfish derbies, the derby brought in over 1,000 lionfish in a single-day event. And we calculated the consumption, what those lionfish would have eaten over the next year's time if they had not been removed. And the results were pretty astounding. Somewhere between 2 million and 8.8 million prey fish would have been consumed by those 1,000 lionfish over the next year's time.
Tagging is another tool in the fight against these invasive fish. It helps the reef team track down lionfish distribution and migration.
The tagging to me was really interesting. They're actually tagging the animals underwater, so they're not bringing them up to the surface. And that's important because then they can tag them at any depth. Fish have a swim bladder, so that air expands as you bring them up. So if you're working really deep, you can't really bring those fish up to the surface.
This is one of those sites that before the derby we had seen quite a number of lionfish and tagged quite a few as well. And we just did another survey on the site and we still saw a lot of lionfish, including some of those that were tagged. So it's pretty obvious that nobody's been to this site during the derby.
Gary Mays found out yet again just how difficult it is to handle lionfish safely.
When I was taking the lionfish off the spear and in the bag, I put the spear this way and pulled it back. Well, one of the spines got me right there on that finger.
Unfortunately, on that last one, Gary took a little sting, so he aborted the dive, came up, made a safe ascent, which is good. And right now we're gonna get him some hot water and get that hand soaking in the hot water so we can denature that venom and get him back to feeling good.
I was really surprised to see the number of lionfish that were on here. It just shows how they're taking over the Keys, and we need to really get out there and start doing some more work and dive some of these lesser dove sites to get them off the reef. Because one thing I noticed down there was a lot of lionfish. The little bitty fish weren't around, so you know that the lionfish are probably cleaning them off.
Even though we're trying to address this lionfish invasion, we really don't have anything against the fish. So we try to put them down humanely, and immersion in an ice water bath like this is one of the most humane ways we can euthanize these fish. So their bodies are just going to slowly shut down in this very cold temperature, and they'll expire without going through too much undue stress.
Lionfish are having a dramatic impact on the Florida Keys, but they're still in the early stages of their invasion. In the Bahamas, they are very well established. Lionfish impacts there are profound.
Stephanie Green from Simon Fraser University in Vancouver had a recent study that showed in a 2-year period in the Bahamas, predation of lionfish decreased the native marine life population by an average of 65%, with some sites showing as high as a 95% decline in just 2 years. So we're realizing now that the impacts lionfish are going to have may be very, very severe. While we're pretty sure that we are not going to be able to eradicate lionfish, there are some really positive notes in local control. And what we're finding is that active removal programs on a regular basis can bring the lionfish numbers down significantly to the point that they're not really impacting the system. And I think when we look long term and look into the future, what we're hoping for is to minimize those populations, at least in key areas, and allow nature some time to come up with its own biocontrol mechanisms, or at the least, buy some time for new technologies that may be able to affect change on a much broader scale.
Scuba divers and competitive derbies help to suppress lionfish numbers, but to manage their explosive growth, most people agree that some form of commercial fishery needs to be considered. Lobster fishermen are finding that lionfish are attracted to bait and are sneaking into their lobster traps.
You want to see some lionfish? Here you go. I never saw a lionfish in my life until about 3 years ago. I think we caught 32 and we reported each one. It was a big deal to us to get a lionfish. I think I got the world's record at the time, which ended up being like 32 lionfish in a season. By the second season, we were up to as many as probably 50 a day of lionfish in our traps, and we started seeing them a little more in the deep water. So I said, I want to take these around to the restaurants. So we carried them up and down the Keys to the chefs at the different restaurants, and now it's starting to expand to other restaurants. I sold about 6,000 pounds of lionfish last year off the boat at $6 a pound, so it became a pretty lucrative little enterprise. The lionfish are coexisting with the lobster, obviously, because we're fishing for lobster, we're not fishing for lionfish. At least we're able to market these lionfish. There must be just a million of them, because I'm fishing my traps from 100 feet of water out to 300 feet of water. And the deeper I go, the more lionfish I see. The deeper you go, the bigger they seem to be also. It's pretty incredible.
Man, they're getting so big. My God.
I don't know what they're eating, but they displace the lobster. What happens if you get 3 or 4 lionfish in a trap, the lobster really don't want to go in with the lionfish. You might get a couple of lionfish in with a lobster, but the lobster don't want to go in with them lionfish. I don't know why. Nature usually takes care of itself, so someday, somehow, something will eat them up. So if not, I don't know what the end result's going to be here.
Bad for the reef, but great for the restaurant. This was nice on the plate.
That was huge.
I'll take everything you got. I said, what I've got from you already is already gone.
And that's going to win. We have to tear this to 0.
Ted Drever owns and operates the Conch House, a popular Key Largo seafood restaurant. He discovered that lionfish were a tasty alternative to heavily stressed species such as snapper and grouper.
Here we are, dear. Lionfish taco.
Thank you.
Demand is brisk, but initially it was difficult to convince customers to eat them since many people thought they were poisonous.
All right, and this is today's catch. I got these from Nickel Seafood. So what I like to do is I actually like to skin these fish before I fillet them. I actually go ahead and trace it out as to what I want the fillet to look like. I know what I expect to get. Turn it over to the chef. So this skin pulls off very nicely. This is going to be the fillet that we're looking for right here. Work this off here. Oh, the people love this fish. This fish is a nice, mild, very similar to hogfish, which is one of the local delicacies down here. Cut off this bones, and that's what you're looking for. Just a nice fillet right here.
This fish here have a very nice taste to it. Every single person who coming in here, they all talking about this is the best fish they ever have. Let's say I have 40 pounds. Less than a day, they're gone. We always have people coming back for more. So this one is ready to go.
There's a lot of people who are confused about lionfish when they come in. They actually are scared to eat it. They've got fears built up on something. A lot of people actually say lionfish is poisonous. Oh, they would never eat this fish. It's not poisonous at all. It's actually venomous, and venomous is harmless when digested. But it's actually the quills that hold the venom, not the fillets themselves, not the meat. The meat, really white, really mild, delicious, delicious fish, and absolutely harmless. The reviews are amazing every time.
If there's a silver lining to this lionfish issue and a weakness in lionfish themselves, it's that they taste great. And they are commonly eaten in their native range, they're just not encountered very frequently. So capitalizing on that, we realized that getting lionfish into the market provides incentive for fishermen to go out and remove the fish.
While it's generally agreed the lionfish invasion is grave news for the region, some people see it as an opportunity.
What people have failed to see is how this is really impacting scuba, because it's not all negative. This has really put a focus on scuba and on scuba divers in a way I haven't seen in a while. Rather than us being always taught not to hurt the environment, not to touch the coral, not to touch this, they're asking us to go out and kill these fish. They're actually asking us to go and slay stuff. And environmentalists never ask you to kill stuff. They never want you to touch anything. They want you to always keep it, but we get to kill it. We get to eat it. And there's no limits. There's nothing that stops us from whatever we need to do to get rid of these critters. Now, will that make an impact? Probably not.
Lionfish are here to stay. We've never said that we hope to eradicate them because basically the ocean currents are like a conveyor belt that's just going to continue to bring them. I tell people that lionfish are part of the Florida Keys story.
Lionfish really are a beautiful, wonderful, ornate fish in their native range. But here in the wider Caribbean, they don't belong, and they're causing very severe problems. And this is a problem we know that we started, it's introduced by man, and it's really going to be up to us to address this.